So as I was saying before, my Prezi video actually timed out. The most important thing to do when adding and subtracting decimals is, I need to finish rewriting the question. We line it up, line it up, line it up at the decimal. So, and I realized I put this on the wrong side. I am terrible at adding and subtracting backwards. So I did this ahead of time just to kind of help myself. And again, you can always use a calculator when you are solving problems that are really, really challenging. So we have here, and especially if you're writing backwards, I think it's always okay to use a calculator. So we have 8 and 22 hundredths minus 0 and 44 hundredths, which brings us to 7 and 78 hundredths. Remember, when we're finished with this kind of problem, though, the one song I want to review is we bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. So now we know Maddie had 7 pounds and 7 and 78 hundredths of a pound of craft supplies. All right, can you believe it? After all this work, we are still not done. And the reason for that is it didn't ask us how much each person bought. It asked us how much they spent. And we know that it costs at this particular craft store $18.50 per pound. So what we need to do is I need to go back to my bar diagram and I actually need to solve, which is the next step in the Mrs. Benavides method. So I have to go 4 times 18.5, right? Because it's $18.50 per pound. She has 4 pounds, so I need to do this way. To find what Daniela bought, I need to do 8 times $18.50. Now, why am I not including a 0 at the end? Remember, it's a smiley face 0. It doesn't matter. I don't even actually think I included it in my original question. For Jacob, we need to multiply 8.22 or 8 and 22 hundredths times $18.50. Finally, for Maddie, she has 7.78 pounds times 18.5. So, again, if you want some practice multiplying decimals, I highly encourage you to pause this video, solve each of these independently. I cannot multiply backwards, so I'm going to do this the normal calculator way. So 4 times 18.5 equals, 4 times 18.5 equals $74. Now we're doing, so that means Candace spent $74 on craft supplies. Wish I had $74 to spend on craft supplies. That would be awesome. 8 times $18.50 equals, whoa, $148 on craft supplies. Again, I wish I had this much money to spend on craft supplies. This would be an awesome, awesome, awesome time. 8.22, because remember he has 8.22 pounds, times 18.5 equals 150. Whoops, that's backwards 5 for you. 152.07. That's how much Jacob spent. And then finally for Maddie, 7.78 times 18.5 equals 143.93. Okay, so here's my final answer. And the final step of the Mrs. Benavides method would be to write this all out as a complete sentence. I'm not going to do that because I think we've done quite a bit of work on this. Key things I want us to remember. So, number 1, if you didn't understand absolutely everything in this video, it's okay. This is one of the hardest questions that we've encountered all year. Pretty much anything that I've written for a double black diamond, I didn't hold back at all. I made it as hard as I could possibly think for that particular concept, just to kind of give us the chance to experiment. You know, if you are only given the chance to run 1 mile, how are you ever going to know that you could run 4? And so this is kind of the 4-mile version of the 1 mile that we've been learning. I want us to remember, though, if you get nothing else from this video, remember the Mrs. Benavides method. It is important to take a breath before you attempt to solve something. It is important to make sure that you make a list of all the numbers and that you check those numbers off as you use them. It's important to notice the units and to make sure that your final goal of the question is the unit that you're actually converting to. A lot of students will start converting this to ounces, freak out, and realize they've done all this work for nothing that didn't get them any closer to the answer. Next thing is make sure that you're drawing a picture. Bar diagrams are your best friend, not just in 5th grade, but in all of the years beyond. Honestly, I'm still at the grocery store sometime trying to figure out the price of something, and I draw a bar diagram. Finally, make sure that you're actually answering the question. So in this case, it was looking for dollars, the cost of each one. And so we know our final answer is at least in the right vein because we're answering our full question in dollars. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you in a little bit for science.